6:05 in the morning, which is roughly the time I wake up every day. But particularly today, because my little one had a horrible night. He's been coughing, moaning, crying all the time. And I just rolled out of bed just before 6. But anyway, it tends to be the only quiet time of the day in the house, which is where I used to read a little bit. Now, in answer to David Wiley's question, the only suitable food to accompany reading is coffee, which this morning I'm gonna leave black, no milk, no sugar. I need to wake up today. I guess the only other possible food to ingest while reading is beer, but since I haven't even had breakfast, I think I'm gonna wait a little bit today. I don't understand the whole eating while reading, because the page is 30, you're gonna be eating Cheetos, Fritos, all that kind of stuff. No. Just drinks are okay, food while reading, not okay. Look at that, it's the sweet sound of coffee about to brew. So I'll see you in a minute. Perfect. Okay, now it's a little bit later in the morning and I'm finally at work. This is an answer partly to John's questions about life in Spain. So I used to, for 21 years, I lived in the UK, and me and my wife and my kids were born just outside of London. So, we used to live on the commuter belt in the London metropolitan area, which I don't know how many million people live there and move in and out every day. And my wife is London born and bred, so the furthest away she's ever lived from London is a half an hour train ride from where her parents live, pretty much in the center of town. And we swapped that for a 70,000 people town on the eastern coast of Spain. This is where I work. I actually work for a private British school in Spain, because all my training, all my education, all my professional career I had a career before teaching, but teaching is my second career, and it all happened in the UK. So when we moved to Spain, I work for a British school. So I teach in English, everything we do here is in English. And the school, as you can see, is right in the middle of a valley between pine trees and orange trees and mountains and hills. So we've swapped the metropolis for this. I mean, 3 miles, literally, not even 3 miles from our flat is the beach, and 3 miles the other way, here we are in the middle of the mountains. You can hear the birds chirping, and we've certainly changed our surroundings. And in answer to David Wardop's question about do I follow La Liga, so for our American friends, the soccer, proper football, so the Spanish league, the answer is kind of, I don't watch television. When I was single, I didn't even own a TV. I only got one when I got with my wife, and the only thing we watch at home is actually Amazon Prime, Netflix, and YouTube. I actually do not have the aerial plugged in to the TV. I don't even know how to get the channels here. It's just something I'm not interested. So I don't watch any football at all. However, I do follow it because it's one of those things that you have to kind of be aware of, because it's going to come up in conversation with people. What I do is sometimes when I'm probably going for a run on a Saturday or Sunday is I will listen to the matches on the radio, just to be aware of it. But actually, a bit like a soap opera. Every night in Spain, in the major radio stations, every night at midnight, there are sports talk shows where people discuss, analyze, and football is the main thing. So every morning when I'm having breakfast, I will listen to the recording of the previous night's show, where you got like different journalists, different retired footballers, retired referees discussing, talking about. So I follow it, I'm aware of what's happening, but quite possibly this day and age, if you show me a photo of the members of the teams, I wouldn't be able to name very many players. It's kind of a weird one. And also, with my wife and the 2 kids, I actually don't get a chance to sit down and watch a 2-hour football match. It's not going to happen for me. So I've accepted defeat for now, and maybe in the future. Okay, this next part of the video is gonna, in answer to John's question, expressed interest about life in Spain. I think I should probably do a whole separate video. I think I've already mentioned this. But what is life in Spain? You see, I left Spain when I was 18, and I came back in 2019 as a 39-year-old father of 2. So I spent all my 21 years of my adult life, so more than half my life in the UK. So the Spain that I left and the one I've come back to are a little bit different. And also I've come back to a part of Spain that I relatively knew because I had some family living in the area, but we've literally landed in a town when obviously my wife didn't, but I didn't know anyone. We just literally landed here and started to make our life. But anyway, so we've left London and the metropolis that it is for a 70,000 inhabitants town, although in summer population doubles because we're on the beach and a lot of people come to spend the holidays. I'm not going to say life is better, I'm not going to say life is worse, life is just different. It's not a case of the grass necessarily being greener, but most certainly the pace of life is just way down. The pressures and the stresses of work are way down. The attitude that people have and the way you interact with people, it's nothing is urgent, everything's okay, sit down, have one more beer, whatever. On the flip side of that, you get the same attitude from the civil service, so trying to get things done and sorted is never a one-trip visit to someone, and sometimes sorting stuff out and trying to get things done depends on who you're dealing with on the other side. So I remember trying to get the social security, the medical care that the state provides here in Spain for my kids. Took me 2 trips to the same place, talking to different people, asking me for different forms. I think on the second or the third trip, I found the one civil servant that actually knew his job, and he sorted it out on the spot. So, go figure. And let alone the place we live now, we bought it earlier in, when did we move here? Well, we bought it in January 2020. The flat had been empty for years. It was in the possession of a bank because previous tenants, whatever. And it had been empty for like 4 or 5 years. So trying to get the water reconnected was just a whole palaver as well. Like nothing is easy. Dealing with anything like that in Spain is a pain. It really is, and you just gotta like accept it and deal with it as much as you can. I earn half of what I used to in the UK, and my wife doesn't earn anything at all. She spent 2 years at home being a mum. She wanted to do. I think she's finally realized that's not what she wants to do. But the cost of living here is so much lower than in London that we've been able to afford to live with just one salary, the 4 of us, for a while. Live, survive, whatever you want to call it. That would have never happened in the UK. The main reason why we came here was precisely that. Being in London, living in London, I was going to turn 40. I didn't own my own place. I really didn't have anything. We were, for reasons, but we were just surviving, and it's not what I wanted to offer the boys. I thought I could do better for my family. It took a while convincing my wife, but now we're here. Unfortunately, flipping pandemic hit, and the first year, well, the last year and a half has been a bit of a washout, really. We came in August, and then in March we got locked down, stay at home until June, July. I don't know. It wasn't great. We could have got so much more out of it, but it's not all bad. Some things are really good. Like I said, the cost of living is a fraction of what it used to be, and we are in a position that we couldn't afford in the UK. Once we are allowed to fly again, we are only an hour away from the airport, and we got daily flights to London. So we'll hopefully, once we can, we'll be making trips again, seeing the family, and stuff like that. So we're not that far either from my wife's family. It's just that we've been unable to get there, or for them to come over. Early days are still, it feels a bit funny to say that it's still early days after 2 years, but I think certainly relocating to a new country, my wife, who can just about get by with the language, it takes a long time to live in a different place when it's not the same going from the US to the UK or Australia, or where the language, literally my wife came here not knowing anyone, barely being able to express herself and hold conversations with people, and we had some rough moments because she misses her family and so on. But all in all, I think we're all okay. I think so far, touch wood and all that, seems that it was the right decision for us as a family. But still early days. Still not quite sure yet. My oldest boy came not speaking any Spanish. And then all of a sudden, after 6 months, he talks to his friends. He understands me perfectly. Sometimes if I want to speak Spanish at home, he will translate to my wife. So he understands a great deal, and hopefully they're going to grow to be bilingual. And if they pick up another language along the way, these are the things that I wanted for them, and we'll take it from there. It's taken a bit of time. It's taken time to get used to. I'm sure some of you, I mentioned this, you are aware. My wife is black, and living in London, that was never much of an issue. Now she lives in a very small town in Spain, where some people have never seen a black person in their lives. Certainly when I was growing up, back in the 80s, I come from a town in the south of Spain. You never saw anyone other than, your relatives or anyone different. I remember the first time I went to a Chinese restaurant, and you saw a Chinese person, but that was it. That's the level of cultural mixture that we had back in the day. So things have moved on a bit, but it's certainly not London. It's not the multicultural surroundings that we have grown used to. So I'm pretty certain that for some of our newfound friends, my wife has been the first ever black person they've talked to in their lives. And last year, we moved here in 2019, so the beginnings weren't the easiest. We still have some concerns about our children, but people have been exceptionally welcoming. When our friends say, let's meet for lunch, that turns into a whole day affair. Last weekend, we were at a friend's place, and we were there from 1 in the afternoon till 7:30 in the evening, and that was a lunch, let's meet for lunch type thing. So it takes a long time to get used to living in a new country. Certainly a lot longer the older you are. When I moved to the UK back in 98, straight into uni, it was quite simple. As an adult with kids, things are a little bit different, but we made that change for reasons. Maybe one day I'll do a video as to why we actually moved and what precipitated all of that. But maybe later I'll show you the beach. I'll show you some of the surrounding areas. But It is 8:45, so I need to get my lessons sorted and the day going. So I'll catch you later. Yep, and this is one of the other things you can do if you live here. Just go for a hike in the mountains, somewhere there with the kids, and it's a great way to spend the weekend. And this is the other great thing about living in Spain. After a hike in the mountains, you can take the kids to the beach, have a bit of a swim, and then go back home for dinner. And now I think I'm gonna run for one of them. See you later.